Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a DIY Dollar Tree Hampton Wreath for $5. This is a Hampton Wreath. I saw it online as suggested to me for Pinterest, for sale at sage.com for $154. We're going to make it for $5. So we're going to use the green foam wreath to get that round feel. We're going to use the decorative nautical rope. I needed 2.5, but don't forget you can always get the big roll at Walmart if you can't find it. Also, you're going to need some jute just to fill in. Now, I just used the regular jute from Walmart, but if you looked at the sample, it's actually 2 different thicknesses of rope, and a blonde one and a sisal colored one, like a natural colored one. But they did come in different stores, carry different types of this nautical wreath. As a matter of fact, this store had the natural one as a centerpiece, but I wanted to show you the hanging wreath. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out if I want the front or the back. Now, honestly, this is one of those, am I really teaching this? But I will. I was trying to play with the jute. Should I roll the jute at the same time or fill it back in later? And then I was trying to like double up the jute from the Dollar Tree and make it a little thicker, because if you did notice from the sample, it's actually 2 different thicknesses of rope, but I wanted to get the effect. I didn't want to copy it exactly, but it's also a little smaller than the actual one that's for sale. I believe this is a 12-inch wreath form from the Dollar Tree, and I think the other one's 14 inches. But you're just going to wrap it around. Now, to keep it straight, and what I mean by straight is with the diameter of the circle, basically you want it like a clock. You want everything to be from the center out. You don't want it to be in an angle. If that at all makes sense. Basically, the rope is going to touch on the inside of the wreath, and there's going to be a tiny space on the outside of the wreath, which we will go back and fill in with the jute. I originally thought that I would do them both at the same time, simultaneously, do the rope and then the jute and then the rope and the jute. But I realized that my jute wasn't as thick as the sample, as the original, so I wanted to get the effect without actually copying it exactly. So I've decided to put the jute after. So basically I'm going to wrap this rope around, and it really was very simple. I know this is going to sound like I always say that, and you guys are like, you make it look so simple. No, seriously, it's just wrapping it around. What techniques I picked up along the way is I would glue it every so often, but before I would glue it, I would take my hand and twist all of the rope tight around the wreath to get up all the slack. And honestly, it fit around there like it's, so you started it on the back, and I was able to twist it so that I was able to glue it on the back. I didn't have to cut it, which is kind of a weird coincidence. And this is just at double time. I don't want you to think I'm doing this like it didn't take me hours and hours. I think this is like a 16-minute video, so it took me all of 32 minutes. I do have a few edits, but mostly because I walked away from the table. I kept getting up and going to the bathroom and stuff like that. So it may take you a little bit as long too, if you have to go potty as well. All right. But then I just got the second rope, and like I said, the first rope ended on the back, so that's where I started the second one. I just butted them up to each other. Just let the glue set before you start wrapping it. Let's see. Yes, when I was letting the glue harden, that's when I took the opportunity to go to the bathroom. So it doesn't look like I gave the glue very much opportunity to set, but I did. I wanted to also show you that rope that I had gotten from Walmart was, you get a lot more of it, and it was about $4.97 if I recall. And they also have different colors, so you could actually get this for still super cheap. If you went to Walmart and got like their white, they have like a white satin type cord looking thing. and then they have the jute, and if you combine those, you would get the exact replica of the Hampton Wreath, still for $10, not, or for $15 at the most, not anywhere near the $154 they're asking for it. Now, like I said, I was on my Pinterest and it was suggested to me this wreath to buy, which is funny. I get a lot of suggestions like that lately. And I was appalled by the price. But once you click on something, if you guys aren't familiar with Pinterest, I'm sure many of you are. Once you click on something, they suggest 5 other things like it. And what this Hampton wreath is like a starter wreath. It's basically something like the forever wreath where you can keep up all year and you can decorate it, embellish it the way you like to. So I saw a few of them embellished like nautical, basically with seashells and starfish. And then I saw a few of them embellished with farmhouse decor. So it had like a little tin pail on it, or a bird, and then or something along those lines. So you can take it as a base of a wreath, like the forever wreath. You can do with it as you wish. Some of them had flowers on them, and my only thing is, like the forever wreath, I would not glue the flowers on here. I would make it somehow where the flowers would be able to be put on and taken off. So wire, and then you can always wrap the wire around the wreath just so you could change it. And obviously that's just my thing. You guys do what you want to do, but that's just my thing. So if I was going to make this a nautical thing and put a starfish on there, I would probably put the starfish on like a clothespin or a safety pin, because this is rope. You could probably stick safety pins on there. Or I would wire it so that I could take it off and adjust it and change it from season to season. But that's just my opinion, like I said. If you feel like you want to go ahead and look this up and you can get some ideas of how to decorate them in your style, then you go right ahead. I'm just showing you the plain one and the techniques that I used to get it. So now I'm using the third rope and I'm doing the same thing. I butted up to the last remaining glue. I've butted up to the last part of the wreath where I left off, and just letting the glue set. And I also put a little glue like at the end of the rope, the beginning of the rope, like so they would touch each other, not just glue to the wreath. I glued the ropes to themselves as well. And now you're just going to repeat it. Once the glue is set, you don't want to start wrapping until the glue is set. That was its actual drying time, by the way. That wasn't anything that was cut out. I figured the other 2 times I went to the bathroom, but this time I'll show you exactly how long it dries. But if you can see, when you look up close, you get some green. But once we start putting the jute in there, it will cut the green down where you won't see the green. And because the sample had a thicker rope than the jute you get at the Dollar Tree, I originally was thinking that I would do that where I can make a thicker rope. If you saw the nautical Pottery barn inspired mirror that I did from the Dollar Tree, I taught you guys how to make rope out of jute or thicker cord out of jute. If you go back, I'll attach that in the description box down below. This way you could see how to do that. But I was thinking that if I would have had Jim's help, I could have made a thicker sort of jute rope. But I ended up liking the way it came out with just the way I ended up. Anyway, what I decided to do, I ended up liking it. So that's the end, and I cut off the rope. The rope from the factory's got tape on the ends. You want to tape the end of the rope that you're going to have left over so it doesn't fray on you, okay? That's the only tip that I'm going to give you there. But then I just started where I had started the other rope. I started the jute, and again, the same along the back. And I tried to make the spaces a little even. So, like I said, you want it to go like the hands of a clock. Like basically you always want it to be straight across. I don't know. Am I making sense? You want the rope to be perpendicular to the wreath where it's at that point. Anyway, what I found that I liked was I wrapped the jute around 2 times each space. Okay. I found that that gave me the effect, the look that of the appearance of the Hampton wreath. It took it from just being a rope wreath to just took it up a level by adding the jute. Again, if you want to skip that, or if you want to use a different rope, or if you want to use something else, obviously you guys do you. You do what you, the aesthetic that you like. Actually, not perfect, but the jute that I really liked the size of was the jute that came with those bunny rabbit bags. I had some left over, and I was like, this would be perfect, but one of those strings only went between 2 sections of rope, so that wasn't going to happen. I didn't have enough, but so I decided to do this. Double it up, wrap it around twice, and then I just went the whole way. It didn't take a whole package of jute, but this one was already like 3/4 of the way finished. So it took, if we roughly say 2.5 ropes and a half of a jute, that would just make it like $3, and then $4 would be just for the wreath. But I put $5 because if you were going to buy all the supplies, you would need $5. That's why I did that. And all these supplies can usually be found at the Dollar Tree. We all know that the nautical rope is like a few and far between type of item that has been, what do we call them? A unicorn item, where you know that they're in there. You hear the rumor, you hear there's a myth that there's some kind of nautical rope, and if you're lucky enough, you find it or something. But the jute they always have. But like I said, so it's if you don't have a Dollar Tree by you, or if you don't have this rope at the Dollar Tree, you can get it at Walmart. They also sell rope like this in the different hardware stores like Lowe's and Home Depot. You can get any kind of sisal rope as well. It may not have such a twist in it like the nautical rope, but if I could tell you how much nautical rope has slipped through my family's fingers with my dad's fishing career, I feel like I could have got tons of this when we were, if I knew that this was going to be a craft, I could have had tons of this when we were growing up. My dad used to take sections of rope that were left over from netting, from making nets, and he would always string the clothesline with them and do little crafts and teach us how to make fisherman knots and stuff like that. So that was always a lot of fun. But here I am having to buy it, so that's okay. But that's also an option if you have a boating store by you, and you can get your hands on that kind of nautical rope. I mean, even the rope at the hardware store is really not that much money. Like, if these are 13 feet long and I use 2.5, we're talking 30 feet of rope. I mean, 30 feet of rope, even if it was $2 a foot, that's, well, no, $2 a foot, $2 a yard. Yeah, could you imagine if rope was $2 a foot and could you imagine if there's $60 worth of rope? That wouldn't make it a bargain. Actually, it still would for $154. That'd still be half price. Oh my goodness. But you can usually get the rope pretty cheap at the hardware stores as well. And a lot of times when you go to different boating stores, you used to be able to. Let me take that back. It's probably been a really long time. I'm going to say it's probably been 20 years since I've been in a boating store. So let me just shut my mouth. But you used to be able to get it cut. You go in there and you say, can I get 100 feet or, 200 yards, and they would cut it for you off the big spool. Anyhow, I digress. So this is like boring watching me do this, but you guys love to hear me talk, right? At least somebody does. Hello. So the other thing is, I'm just going to take a piece of the jute when we're done. I'm going to make a simple little hanger, the same type of hanger we always make, that little tiny noose hanger. I did want to make the hanger invisible, so I kind of made it really small and hid it completely behind the section of the wreath, okay? But it's just going to continue, and when we get to the end, we're going to glue it off. All right, and I would be interested, if you guys are interested in making one of these, I'd love to know how you would decorate it. So if you can leave me that in the comments down below, I would appreciate it. I know there are a few of you who have mentioned that you have sort of a beachy type of decor, and then of course a lot of us have the farmhouse or country decor. I don't mean this to say it braggartly, but I've been developing that farmhouse look in my house for like, I don't know, since 1989. That's when I got my first white ceramics, and I was like, yes, this is how I want my house to look. So then that's it. So we're just going to get to the end, and it seemed to have just been like, oh, it's like almost perfect. And then I had to add another piece because I was just 2 little loops short. So I just took a little scrap that I had. Now I'm just going to make that hanger that we talked about. So if you haven't seen me make a hanger before, here it is. You just fold a piece in half and you tie a little knot. But I wanted to make sure that this one was really short. So let me zoom in and you can see what I'm talking about. And I wanted it to be really hidden. So there's just enough there. And that's it. So it is just that simple. You can adjust it if you need to make out your spaces. But here it is. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to tell me how you would decorate this if you make this for yourself. And share this with friends and family. Anybody you know you may be interested in making one of these. And join the family. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, you take care. God bless. See you next time. Bye.